There's a moment that comes for those of us who are truly seeking, not just hoping, not just scrolling, but seeking when the illusion finally begins to crack. It doesn't shatter all at once. It fractures in silence. You wake up one morning and something feels off. Not wrong, but different. The light looks the same, the room is unchanged, but your perception has shifted by a degree barely noticeable to the mind, yet undeniable to the soul. You realize, maybe for the first time, that what you've been calling reality is simply one possible version of it. And in that moment, the doorway opens. You begin to sense that there are infinite realities layered upon this one, and that you have the power to shift from one to another. Not through effort, through frequency. Let me take you into a true story, one that started like any other day. A man sits in silence. He's lost everything. His business collapsed. His relationship ended. His health is failing. He's on the edge. But instead of spiraling, he chooses something different. He does nothing. He closes his eyes, breathes, and listens. For the first time, he stops trying to fix his life and instead tunes into something deeper. Within minutes, something happens. A wave of energy rises in his spine. Time slows. His breath becomes light. And in that space between thought and feeling, he hears it not a voice, but a knowing. Change your frequency, and your world will change with you. Within weeks, opportunities appear. His energy returns. Love finds him again. The outer world bends to match his new inner state. This is quantum manifestation in its purest form. No vision board, no hustle, just alignment. You see, we've been taught to believe that reality is fixed. That if something isn't working, you have to push harder, work more, effort your way through. But quantum manifestation flips that entire script. It suggests that the outer world is not cause, it's effect. That your thoughts, emotions, and most importantly, your frequency, are the tuning fork of the universe. And the universe is not ignoring you, it's responding to you. Every second of every day. So if you want a different reality, don't chase it. Shift into it.
Click subscribe to this channel to get more profound insights.
Let's get scientific for a moment. Everything is energy. This isn't just spiritual fluff, it's quantum physics. Your body, your thoughts, your emotions, your environment, all vibrating at specific frequencies. When you're anxious, your frequency is low and chaotic. When you're in joy, love, or presence, your frequency is high and coherent. And here's the wild part, each frequency matches a different version of reality. So when you shift your frequency, you literally change the dimension of reality you're tuned into. Think of it like a radio. The songs are already playing on different stations. You don't create the music. You tune into it. Your life works the same way. But how do we do it? How do we actually shift frequency in a world filled with noise, stress, fear, and doubt? The first step is awareness. You cannot change what you do not observe. Begin by noticing your baseline. Ask yourself, what is the emotional frequency I exist in most of the time? Is it frustration? Is it fear? Is it apathy? Or is it gratitude, curiosity, love? Your frequency isn't just what you feel, it's the energetic field you emit. It's how the world experiences you, and it's how the quantum field responds to you. Now here's where it gets powerful. You don't need to fake positivity. That's not how this works. You need to shift state. And the fastest way to do that is not by thinking differently, it's by feeling differently. Thought creates the possibility. Emotion locks it in. When you feel a new state deeply enough, your body believes it's real. And when your body believes it, your reality has no choice but to catch up. This is not magic. This is neurobiology. Your brain rewires itself to match the dominant emotion you embody, and your frequency calibrates accordingly. Let me ask you this. If you woke up tomorrow with no memory of your past, none of your trauma, none of your story, and you could choose any version of yourself to embody, who would you be? Not what would you do, but who would you be? That question is the key to quantum shifting. Because when you answer it honestly, you begin to tune your frequency to that reality. And once your frequency matches that version of you, the shift is already happening. You don't need to see results to believe it. You need to believe it to see results. But there's a trap, one that almost every seeker falls into, the trap of waiting. You say, I'll feel abundant when I have more money. I'll feel love when I meet the right person. I'll feel peace when my problems are solved. But the quantum field doesn't work that way. It doesn't respond to your needs. It responds to your state. So if you're waiting to feel better before you shift, you're reversing the formula. You must feel now what you expect to receive later. That's the paradox. You must become the version of yourself who already has it, even when everything around you says otherwise. This is where discipline becomes sacred. Not discipline in the traditional sense. Not forcing yourself to follow routines, but energetic discipline. The ability to return again and again to your chosen frequency, even when the world tests you. Especially when the world tests you. You anchor into the energy of your desired reality, and you hold it not for results, but because it's who you are. And when that becomes your default, the shift becomes inevitable. There will be days where your frequency drops. That's okay. You are not a robot. You are here to feel. But the question is, how quickly can you return? How fast can you remember who you really are? That's the game. That's the path. You are not trying to escape this dimension. You are learning to master your frequency within it so you can access higher ones. You're not bypassing reality, you're bending it. Let's get even more practical. There are 5 core ways to elevate your frequency intentionally. The first is breath. Your breath is the bridge between body and spirit. Slow, conscious breathing resets your nervous system and calibrates your field. The second is movement, not for fitness, but for flow. Dance, stretch, walk, move energy through your body. The third is sound. Use music, mantras, or even silence to shift your vibration. The fourth is focus. Whatever you give attention to, you amplify. The fifth and most powerful is emotion. Activate emotions like gratitude, awe, love, and joy, even if nothing outside is causing them. That is the ultimate flex of a quantum creator. Now you might be wondering, how do I know it's working? The answer is subtle. Look for signs, synchronicities, moments of flow, unexpected opportunities. But more than anything, look for how you feel. When you feel lighter, clearer, more expansive, you've already shifted. The outer world may take time to catch up, but inside you're already in a different dimension. And that dimension is not a place. It's a frequency. It's a version of reality where your desires are not just possible, they're natural. You have to understand, quantum manifestation is not about getting what you want. It's about becoming who you truly are. And from that place, what you want is drawn to you effortlessly. Not because you need it, but because you match it. The universe doesn't give you what you beg for. It gives you what you are. So who are you being? Not in theory, right now, in this moment. What frequency are you broadcasting? This is the invitation to stop trying to shift reality through force and start shifting through frequency. To stop identifying with the version of you that is struggling and start embodying the version that is thriving. That version already exists. In fact, it's calling you. Every time you feel a desire, that's not a lack, it's a signal from a higher dimension asking you to rise. Will you answer it? You don't need a guru. You don't need a ritual. You need to remember that you are not a victim of your circumstances. You are a transmitter of reality, and the dial is in your hands. The moment you truly accept that your frequency is the steering wheel of your life, you will stop arguing for your limitations. You will stop defending your suffering, stop rehearsing your pain, and stop waiting for permission to become who you already are. Instead, you'll begin to live as a conscious participant in your own evolution. You'll realize that manifestation is not about attracting something external. It's about unlocking what's already encoded in your field. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are simply vibrating at the frequency of your current dimension. And the moment you shift, the dimension shifts with you. Now let's talk about dimensions. Most people think of dimensions as physical locations, like levels in a game or realms in a fantasy novel. But dimensions are not places, they are states of consciousness. You don't go to a higher dimension by traveling outward. You enter it by going inward. A higher dimension is simply a reality where more of your soul is expressed, more light, more awareness, more coherence. And the only price of admission is your frequency. Each time you raise your frequency, you access a higher vibrational timeline. A new version of reality, one where the rules are different, the challenges are new, and your manifestations arrive with less resistance. You may have already experienced this without even realizing it. Think of a time when everything felt effortless. When synchronicities lined up, when opportunities flowed, when you felt deeply connected to life. That wasn't luck. That was you temporarily entering a higher dimension. Your frequency matched that realm, and so it opened to you. The problem is, most people don't know how to stay there. They dip in and out, unconsciously pulled back into lower vibrations by fear, doubt, and old programming. But what if you could stabilize that frequency? What if you could live from that higher dimension, not just visit it? That's where practice becomes power. Just like a musician tunes their instrument every day, you must tune your frequency daily. This isn't about perfection, it's about consistency. You are building a new energetic baseline, something stable, something sovereign, something magnetic. And with each repetition, each conscious breath, each intentional emotion, you become more aligned with your quantum blueprint. That blueprint is not a fantasy. It's real. It already exists in the field. And your job is to become the version of you who matches it. Let's go deeper. The quantum field is not biased. It doesn't care about your past, your wounds, or your excuses. It only mirrors your vibration. That means you can reinvent yourself entirely, starting now. But here's the twist. The quantum field doesn't respond to what you say you want. It responds to what you believe you are. You can say, "I am abundant," 1,000 times. But if your baseline frequency is rooted in lack, fear, or guilt, your manifestation will remain in another dimension, just out of reach. So the real work is not affirmations, it's embodiment. You must become the emotional equivalent of your desires. Ask yourself this: if I were already living my dream life, how would I feel? How would I walk, breathe, speak, think? What would I tolerate? What would I create? What would I let go of? And then begin to live as if not to fake it, but to tune to it. Because as far as the quantum field is concerned, your current self and your future self are equally real. The only difference is who you choose to embody. Now let's address something that blocks many people: time. We've been conditioned to believe that change takes time, that success is linear. But in the quantum realm, time is not a straight line. It's a spiral. And transformation doesn't happen in increments, it happens in leaps. Quantum leaps. One shift in frequency can collapse years of struggle. One moment of deep alignment can override decades of limitation. But you must be willing to let go of linear thinking. You must stop asking, "How long will it take?" and start asking, "How aligned can I become?" This doesn't mean you won't face resistance. In fact, as your frequency rises, your old patterns will often rise with it for one last dance. Not to sabotage you, but to be seen, felt, and released. These are the final echoes of your old vibration. Don't fear them. Don't judge them. Witness them. Thank them. Then return to your chosen frequency, again and again. Each time you do, you strengthen your signal. You solidify your shift, and eventually the old timeline loses its grip. Let me give you a real-world example. A woman wants to manifest love. She's been single for years. She's been doing the work, journaling, meditating, visualizing. But nothing changes. Until one day she stops focusing on finding someone and starts focusing on becoming someone. She begins to embody the energy of love, not for a partner, but for herself. She eats better, speaks kinder, dances more, laughs louder, and within weeks she meets someone, not because she chased it, but because she became it. That is quantum manifestation. Embody the frequency, and the dimension finds you. This principle applies to everything: money, health, creativity, purpose. You don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. So if you want more money, become the frequency of abundance. If you want better health, become the frequency of vitality. If you want clarity, become the frequency of stillness. The shifts are subtle at first, but they compound. They build momentum. And soon, your outer world reorganizes to reflect your new inner world. Now, let's talk about identity. This may be the most important piece. Your identity is the container of your frequency. If you keep identifying as someone who is stuck, healing, or trying, your frequency will stay in that loop. But if you shift your identity to someone who is already aligned, already powerful, already whole, that frequency becomes your new norm. So ask yourself, who am I choosing to be? Not tomorrow, not next year, right now. Because your chosen identity is the doorway to your desired dimension. Here's the final key: surrender. Quantum manifestation is not about controlling every outcome. It's about aligning your energy and letting the field do the rest. You don't need to know how it will happen. You just need to become the version of you for whom it already has. And then trust. Trust the timing. Trust the intelligence of the field. Trust the unfolding. Because when your frequency is aligned, delay is not denial. It's divine preparation. So I'll ask you this: what dimension are you living in right now? Not the one your senses tell you, but the one your frequency is tuned to. Are you in a timeline of fear, scarcity, and limitation? Or are you in a dimension of love, power, and infinite possibility? And if you're not where you want to be, can you be brave enough to shift? Not someday, not when it's convenient, but now, right now. You don't need to change the world to change your life. You need to change your frequency. And when you do, the world changes with you. There comes a moment in the energetic journey when everything you thought was real begins to dissolve. Not because you are losing yourself, but because you are finding the self that was hidden beneath layers of noise and programming. When you shift your frequency, you're not just seeing life from a different angle, you are stepping into an entirely new operating system. And in that new dimension, the rules are different. The time feels elastic. People respond to you differently. You notice patterns you never saw before. You feel the presence of something greater guiding you. It's not because the world changed, it's because you changed your access point to it. You have to understand, dimensions are not somewhere else. They are right here, layered on top of each other like transparent veils. You don't have to go anywhere to reach a higher dimension. You simply have to tune yourself to the emotional, mental, and energetic frequency that aligns with that layer of reality. Think of it like augmented reality glasses. When you wear them, new information overlays the same physical world. That's how quantum dimensions work. They're not fictional, they're just invisible to those who aren't vibrating at that level. The truth is, you don't find a new dimension, you remember it. This remembrance is what the ancient mystics, yogis, and initiates have always pointed to. They didn't have the words quantum field or neuroplasticity, but they knew that when your energy shifted, your world did too. They practiced elevation of state through breath, mantra, fasting, silence, and ritual, not because of superstition, but because they understood vibration. When you fast, you empty the body of dense vibrations. When you chant, you raise your cellular frequency. When you sit in silence, you tune into the subatomic orchestra beneath all things. What they knew, we are now proving. Science is catching up to spirit. And we are the generation that gets to bridge the two. Let's talk about quantum identity, because no shift in dimension can happen without a shift in self. Your current identity is a frequency pattern. Your thoughts, your habits, your posture, your voice, these are all clues to the frequency you're broadcasting. If you want to step into a new dimension, you have to embody the version of you that already lives there. You can't wait to feel abundant. You have to be the person who already knows abundance as a state of being. You can't hope for love to arrive. You have to radiate the energy of someone who is already in union with themselves and life. The dimension doesn't come to you. You rise to meet it. But here's where it gets even deeper. When you shift dimensions, you also shift timelines. That means the past no longer defines you. The future is no longer fixed. The person you used to be in the old frequency no longer has authority over you. You are not bound by your trauma, your mistakes, or your conditioning. Those were real, yes, but they were real in a dimension that you are no longer choosing. And when you shift your frequency, you start to feel a separation not from the world, but from the version of you who was stuck in it. That separation is sacred. It's the proof that you're ascending. So how do you maintain the shift? How do you stabilize in a higher dimension without falling back down? The answer is emotional mastery. Emotions are energy in motion. They are the fastest way to change your state. But most people are emotionally reactive. They let external conditions dictate their internal frequency. That's backward. You must become emotionally intentional. Choose your state before the world gives you a reason. Wake up and generate the feeling you want to live in. Not because it's fake, but because it's creative. You are creating your dimension from the inside out. Let me offer you a sacred practice. Each morning, close your eyes and ask yourself one question. What is the frequency of the version of me who already lives in the reality I desire? Then breathe into that version. Feel their energy. Imagine their posture, their decisions, their habits, and then become them, not in the future, now. Embody them before the evidence shows up. This one practice done daily will do more to shift your dimension than 1,000 affirmations spoken unconsciously. And yes, the world will test you. It always does. As soon as you shift your frequency, the old dimension often sends echoes to see if you'll return. Old habits, old people, old thoughts. These are not setbacks. They are invitations. Invitations to anchor deeper into your new state. Every time you respond differently, you are proving to the universe that you are ready, that you can hold the vibration of your next level, that you are not just visiting this new dimension, you belong there. Now let's talk about quantum trust. This is the stage where most people give up. They do the inner work for a week, maybe a month, and then they say, nothing's happening. But in the quantum field, everything is happening the moment you shift. You just can't see it yet. Think of it like planting a seed. The moment you water it, the process begins. But if you dig it up every day to check if it's growing, you kill it. Faith is the frequency of the fifth dimension. When you can hold the energy before the result appears, you are telling the universe, I am already it. And the universe always responds to who you are, not what you want. So let me ask you the real question. Can you trust the unseen more than you trust the evidence of your senses? Can you trust the inner shift more than you doubt the outer delay? Because if you can, you are already shifting. You are already transcending the third-dimensional mindset of cause and effect and entering the quantum landscape of cause through embodiment. You are no longer reacting to life. You are creating it. And what happens when you stabilize in that higher frequency? Miracles. Not the kind you read about in books, the kind you become. You start to receive ideas you never had access to before. You meet people who are aligned with your soul, not your wounds. You find yourself in the right place at the right time. You speak differently. You walk into rooms and shift the energy without saying a word. You become magnetic. Not because you're trying to be, but because you're in tune with a higher octave of reality. This is the secret the world is waking up to. You are not here to chase your dreams. You are here to tune to the dimension where your dreams are already real. You are not here to fix yourself. You are here to remember yourself, to return to the frequency of your divine blueprint. And from that frequency, everything that is not aligned will naturally fall away, not through struggle, but through resonance. So what now? You've heard the truth. You've felt the activation. You've remembered what you forgot. Now you must decide, will you return to the default frequency of the collective? Or will you rise into your own signal and live from a reality that most people don't even believe exists? That choice is not made once. It's made every day, every moment, with every breath. The quantum field is listening. It's waiting. It's responding, not to your words, but to your energy. So tune wisely, choose boldly, and shift unapologetically. Because when you shift your frequency, you change your dimension. And when you change your dimension, you change everything.